glucose structure illustration we have completed. First, there is a open chain structure for glucose. After that, after some analysis, experimental observation, it was rejected. After that, one scientist called Haworth, Haworth, Haworth formulated a structure of glucose which is originally taken from a compound called pyran. Therefore, the structure is called a pyranose structure. It is a closed structure, and moreover, we can say that it is a heterocyclic structure. Heterocyclic in the sense in the nucleus. In the nucleus means in the ring we have atoms other than carbon. So in this case we have oxygen atoms in the ring, oxygen atom, one oxygen atom in the ring. So we can say it as a heterocyclic ring. So this is all about glucose. Now let us think about next monosaccharide, and that is fructose. You can write the heading fructose. Molecular formula of fructose is C6H12O6. C6H12O6. It is same as that of glucose, but the difference is that fructose has a functional group, and that is ketonic functional group. In glucose, functional group is aldehydic functional group, and in this case it is ketonic functional group. And one more difference is there: glucose is dextrorotatory when we consider optical activity, and fructose is levorotatory. So let us think about, we need to study only the structure. Two structures we have to learn. One is open chain structure, another is a closed structure. It is given by Haworth. So let us draw open chain structure. This is the structure of fructose. You know that both the extremes, primary alcoholic group is there, and second carbon atom is a ketonic carbon atom, and rest of these are 1, 2, 3. These three are asymmetric carbon atoms. This is the long chain structure of, that means open chain structure of fructose. And cyclic structure is also there, where fifth carbon is connected to this carbon atom. So we get a cyclic structure, and this cyclic structure, first I will show you how the cyclic structure is obtained. Okay, let us see. First you draw this structure, after that I will draw. Do it quickly. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbon atoms are there, you know, it is similar. And remember, connection will be from 1 to second carbon, 3, 4, 5. These 2 carbon atoms are connected through oxygen atom. Ketal structure is formed because it is a ketonic functional group. In the case of glucose, it is hemiacetal structure, and in this case, it is ketal structure. And because here the functional group is ketonic functional group. Okay, now I will draw that structure where there is oxygen atom is coming in between. Okay, I hope you have completed up to this. So now let us draw. Got it? This is carbon, and through this carbon the link is coming like this, and this oxygen atom is shifted to this side. Here we have oxygen atom. It is coming like this. This is the way the closed structure is formed. Closed structure is formed, and after that, let us think about a structure which is given by Haworth. and this structure is taken from another compound called furan. What is furan? This is called furan. Okay, this is called furan. See that it is a 5-membered ring where oxygen atom is one of the member. So it is furan, and closed structure or the cyclic structure of fructose is taken from this furan. So that's why we can say it as alpha D fructose and beta D fructose, just like that of glucose. In glucose, we have alpha D pyranose because structure is taken from pyran. Okay, so here the structure is taken from furan, so the structure is called a furanose structure. Now let us draw furanose structure of fructose. I hope you have completed all these. So you can draw the structure. Here we have O. Then every position there are two bonds like this, and here you can draw the structure CH2OH H. This is the same as we have drawn in the previous structure. Same. Okay. And here H OH OH H. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. And here we have OH and here we have CH. Okay, this is called alpha D minus fructose. Alpha D minus. Minus means it is levorotase. Fructose. Fructose furanose. This is the actual name. Okay, alpha D minus fructofuranose. Okay, every term, every symbol, there is meaning, proper meaning. This is the alpha form only. Now, how to draw a beta form from the same? Beta D minus fructofuranose is also there. It is differ only in one particular C. When we number the carbon atom, this is first carbon, second carbon, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So, how to draw beta structure? This configuration has changed. OH will be coming up and CH2OH will be coming down. So, that structure is called the beta D. Here, instead of alpha, beta D is coming. Try to draw this structure. If you wish, you can draw the structure. Okay, then now in the same structure, I will draw beta only. This one is only changed. Here we have OH and here we have a CH2. So this is the structure of beta D minus fructofuranose. Okay, so this is all about the structure of fructose. Got it? So this is very, very important. So now the next topic, you know that oligosaccharide, that means disaccharide, polysaccharide, these all topics as deleted from that course. Now directly we'll discuss the next topic, proteins. Okay, so you can put the heading proteins. Listen very carefully so that you can understand something, and it is very simple. Moreover, it is very simple. First of all, protein means prime importance. Prime important means which is very important in a living system. So which are the sources of protein? Milk, cheese, pulses, peanut, these all are the major sources. Apart from that, fish, meat, these all contain large amount of proteins. And fundamentally, what are proteins doing in our body? They are the basic structure of human body. Basic. They are the building blocks of living system. Then, what is the significance of protein? Protein is very much essential for growth and maintenance of the body. Growth, for the growth, it is very essential. Moreover, it is very essential for maintenance of our body. So this is only introduction part of protein. Now let us think about what is chemistry in protein. So let us think about the structure of protein. All when we consider protein, these proteins are simply polymers. Polymers simply means made up of smaller units called the monomers. And what is the monomer of a protein molecule? Monomer of protein is known as amino acid. So simply we can say that proteins are made up of smaller units called amino acids. Then what is an amino acid? Listen very carefully, amino acid. Amino acid means this smaller unit has both a functional group, one amino group and one carboxyl group. Let us see the structure, general formula of amino acid. Okay, general formula is R. R instead of R, H is also coming. C HCOOH. We can see that this is the general formula of amino acid. General formula. So in this general formula, you can see a carboxylic group, you can see an amino group. That's why the compound is called the amino acid. And here, out of 4 valencies, 2 valencies are satisfied here, and 1 valency, 2 valencies are left, 1 valency hydrogen is there, and the 4th valency is satisfied either by means of another hydrogen atom or by means of any alkyl group. So this is the general structure. When we write the common name, you can see that this is functional group, carboxyl group. When we consider the structure, this is major and this is the very important signified functional group, carboxyl group, and the carbon which is attached to this carboxyl group is called the alpha. So generally we can say that alpha amino acids are the monomers of proteins. See, it is not only alpha, beta amino acids are also there. But in the case of protein, building unit of living body, the monomer units are alpha amino acids. Okay, so now we will focus on alpha amino acid. What is alpha amino acid? So alpha amino acid, this is the structure, general formula, and R and H, this can be used. So alpha amino acids, there is representation. I will tell you the name. Some examples are there. Suppose alpha amino acid, first alpha amino acid is instead of here R, here only H is coming. So the first amino acid is H, C, H, COOH, and the H. This is the first amino acid and it has the name lysine. And how to represent, similar to the symbol of elements, here also there is a proper way of representing amino acid, alpha amino acid, and first 3 letters GLY. This is the symbol we can use for the representation of amino acid, first 3. It is not always the first 3 letters. You know that as in the case of symbols of elements, some cases in order to avoid some repetition, there are some other letters are also coming in place of first 3 letters. This is as according to the rule. So anyway, generally 3 letters of the name of the amino acid is considered as the symbol of amino acid. Okay. Now next topic is classification of amino acid. Amino acids are classified into 3 major categories on the basis of number of amino groups and carboxyl group. When we look at the general formula, you can see that amino acid contain one amino group and one carboxyl group. So we can say that it is a neutral molecule. Neutral molecule means it is neither acidic nor basic. But it is not in all cases. There are amino acids where one extra amino group is there. Similarly, there are amino acids in which one extra carboxyl group is also present. So according to this, amino acids are generally classified into three categories: neutral amino acid, basic amino acid. Basic amino acid means those amino acid has one extra amino group. Acidic amino acids means those amino acids having one extra carboxyl group. Okay, in this way, amino acids are classified into three categories: neutral amino acid, basic amino acid, and acidic amino acid. In each category, try to remember at least two examples. So let us think about the neutral amino acid. Neutral amino acids are those amino acids with one amino group and one carboxyl group. First example, you can write glycine. What is glycine? Glycine is HCH COOH NH2. This is glycine. You can write the symbol given GLY, glycine. Second example, you can remember, increase one CH2 group, methylene group, you have to add. Increase in one methylene group means CH2 plus H, so it comes CH3. So it is alanine. Alanine, we have the formula CH3CH NH2 and it has the symbol AL. Okay, alanine. Okay, in this way, if number of methylene group increases, there are different compounds. Then alanine, then we have valine. Valine means one CH2 group is also increased. One CH2 means CH3, CH2, rest of the part is same. Then we have leucine, LEUCINE. Leucine means one more CH2 group is there. So total here, three CH2 groups are there. CH3, CH2, CH2, then CH, NH2, CH. So these are coming under the category neutral amino acid, which contain one amino group and one carboxyl group. Okay. Now let us see acidic amino acids. Acidic amino acids are those amino acids in which one extra COOH group is there. One extra COOH group is there. So again, two examples you have to remember in this case. First of all, we can say aspartic acid. There, what is the formula? COOH, one methylene group CH2, CH, COOH, NH2. And in short way, we can represent it as ASP. ASP means aspartic acid. Okay, aspartic acid. Now, next one is glutamic acid. One methylene group you can increase. That means COOH, CH2, twice CH, COOH, and H2. So I have coined in such example where you can learn it very systematically. Okay. So this gradual increase of CH2 group, so you can easily remember it also. Aspartic acid and glutamic acid, symbolic representation is GL. So neutral amino acid, two example minimum you can remember. Glycine and alanine you can remember. In the case of acidic amino acid, you can remember these two examples: aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Now what is left with us? Basic amino acids. Okay. basic amino acids. Have you completed this structure? I don't know how many of you are doing the same in your copy. Please try to draw it in your copy. Okay, so that you will be in touch with the skill of writing. Okay, so otherwise it will be difficult for you to do the paper within this limited period of time. Try to improve. Okay, then how many of you have completed up to this? जो भी लिख रहे हो वो please बता दीजिए. Otherwise, I'm not interested to writing the same. Keep wasting the time. Okay, very good. Okay, at least 6 students are doing. I'm so happy. 6, 7, and all. Very good. Now let us think about the last type of amino acid, and that is basic amino acid. Last type. What are basic amino acids? Basic amino acids means those amino acids with one NH2 group extra. With the one NH2 group, extra amino group is present. There you can write the example glutamine, Glutamine, glutamine. Glutamine, the symbol not GLU, it will be GLN, glutamine. Okay, now let us think about the structure. NH2 CO CH2 twice CH. This is the structure of glutamine. Okay, what is increasing here is not COOH group, it is CO only, CONH2, then CH2 twice. Okay, so this is called glutamine. Next one more you can remember, asparagine. Its symbol is also little different, ASN. And one CH2 group you can reduce from the above case. So we have the formula NH2CO CH2 CH NH2COOH. Okay, because sometimes we have to change our strategy so that it will be easy for our learning process. Okay, so that's why intentionally here I increase the number, then I reduce the number CH2. So these are the two examples you try to remember along with the which one? Basic amino acids. Okay, so this is all about the classification, general classification we can see. Now on you know that 20 amino acids are there, 20 non-amino acids with its structure and property. Okay, 20. And on the basis of requirement, on the basis of the source, we can again classify. This is about the structure or nature, on the basis of nature of amino acid. It can be classified into 3 categories. One is neutral, acidic, and basic, 3. Now second basic of classification is it is classified on the basis of its requirement, or it is based on its source. Some amino acids are preparing inside our body, some amino acids are obtained from outside. So those amino acids which are synthesized in the body are known under the name non-essential amino acids. This is on what basis? On the basis of its source. On the basis of the source, amino acids are classified into 2 categories. First is called non-essential amino acids. Non-essential. Another is called essential amino acids. What are non-essential amino acids? Non-essential amino acids are those amino acids which are synthesized in the body. And second type, you can write example also. Those examples we have already done in the previous classification. You can repeat in this because that is easy for you. Non-essential amino acid, you can remember the first 2 examples of neutral amino acid, which are they? Glycine and alanine. Glycine and alanine are coming under the category non-essential. This our body is synthesizing these amino acids. So we don't want these amino acids from outside. So that's why they are called a non-essential. Non-essential in the sense our body is preparing already. So बाहर की जरूरत नहीं है. And essential amino acids are those amino acids which are obtained from our diet. Okay, there you can again remember the similar example that we have already done. So you can write the example again. We can remember two neutral amino acid in this case. The next two example. That's why which are they? Valine and leucine. Valine and leucine are coming into the category. Valine and leucine. UCIN. Valine and leucine are coming under the category essential amino acids. So this is all about the classification of amino acid. Got it? Classification of amino acid means two classifications are there. One classification is on the basis of its nature. They are neutral amino acid, basic amino acids, and acidic amino acid. And second is on the basis of its source. They are of two types. One is called non-essential amino acid, which are synthesized in the body. Example, glycine and alanine. Second is essential amino acid, which are obtained through diet only. So two examples, valine and leucine, you can remember the example. This is all about the general classification. Now, what are the properties? Properties are generally we can say that they all are colorless, crystalline solids, and they are soluble in water. Moreover, they have high melting point. Why they have high melting point? Because they have two important functional group, amino group and carboxyl group. Both are capable of making hydrogen bonding. So that's why obviously their melting points are very high. Okay. Now, another important property, and that is very, very important, we can consider it as a chemical property. Only two properties are there. These two property we can complete today. Next class we can do the structure of protein, a very important topic. Okay. So we are talking of properties now. Now, in aqueous solution, we can, I will draw the general structure R, C, H, C, O, H, and NH. You know that this nitrogen with a lone pair of electron. Nitrogen with a lone pair of electron. In aqueous solution, what will happen? Aqueous solution, what will happen? See, this hydrogen, which is migrated to this nitrogen. So we get a structure, and what is that structure? R, C, H, COO minus. Here we have NS3 plus. And this structure where two charges are simultaneously present, one positive charge and one negative charge. Why negative charge is here? Because here one proton is eliminated. Proton means H plus. Hydrogen donated its electron to this carbon. So that's why here minus charge is coming here. And this H plus is bonded to nitrogen, making use of the lone pair nitrogen has. That's why here nitrogen carry a positive charge. And the molecule, or this is a dipolar molecule. Dipolar means which has two charges, one positive and one negative charge. This ion is known under the name Sweeter ion. If you have learned amine chapter, there we have done this topic, Sweeter ion. That time I told you we will do the same topic in biomolecule. Some of you maybe remember the same statement. Okay, Sweeter ion simply means a particular dipolar ion where positive and negative charge are present simultaneously in the compound. What is the speciality of Sweeter ion? The topic related to the Sweeter ion in amine is sulfanilic acid. Sulfanilic acid means benzene ring with SO3H. एक बार फिर से मैं बता देती हूँ इसका जितनी रिंग बोल्ट हो सकते हैं SO3H and NH2. In this case, SO3H, this hydrogen is migrated to this. So here we get a structure SO3 minus, and here we have NH3 plus. And this is also called as Zwitter ion. This is also another example of Zwitter ion. So Zwitter ion is a general term where it is a dipolar ion where this same molecule has both the charges positive and negative. What is the speciality of Zwitter ion? These Zwitter ions are amphoteric in nature. Amphoteric means that they are capable of reacting with both acid and base. Okay, this is the third property we can say. And the fourth property we can say it is related to optical activity. Last property related to optical activity except the first amino acid. What is that? Glycine. Except glycine, rest of the amino acids are optically active. Glycine is not optically active. I will draw the structure of glycine. Glycine is this is glycine. So according to the basic requirement of optically active compound is existence of an asymmetric carbon. Asymmetric means one carbon atom which has all four valencies satisfied by different atoms or group of atoms. You can look at this carbon, two hydrogen atoms are present at the same carbon. So that means two valencies of carbon are satisfied by means of hydrogen atom only. It is same. That's why this is not optically active. The rest of amino acids, that means the rest 19 amino acids which are coming under the category optically active. And how to decide which is dextro and which is levo? That means which is optically dextrorotatory and which is optically levorotatory. Here the concept is little different. We can classify B and L. These are the two terms we can use. In the case of amino acid, these are the two terms representing dextro and levo. It is different from that of carbohydrate. D means dextrorotatory and L means levorotatory. Okay, how can you decide when we check the three-dimensional structure of amino acid? If NH2 group is coming in the right side, so that particular amino acid is dextrorotatory. If NH2 coming in the left side, that form is levorotatory. This is the basic of decide which is dextro and which is levorotatory. Okay, so this is all about the properties of amino acid, and next class we will discuss structure of amino acid. Okay, structure of amino acid is very important. Okay, so try to be there in the class. It's very important. Okay, so those who are coming for offline classes, tomorrow I will be tomorrow maybe the class will be arranged by somebody else, but I am not sure